Imagine standing on a cliff, staring at an endless ocean. No map, no compass, no idea what's out there. And yet, tens of thousands of years ago, humans did exactly that and made it all the way across the planet. From Africa to Australia, from Asia to the furthest islands in the Pacific. No satellites, no engines, not even written maps. So how did they actually pull this off? Some of these journeys crossed thousands of miles of open ocean, with nothing but water in every direction. The answer lies in skills that modern humans have almost completely forgotten. An incredible ability to read the stars, the ocean, and the sky itself like a living map. Knowledge passed down for generations, memorized in incredible detail. This is the story of how ancient humans became the greatest explorers our species has ever known. Long before ships had engines, before anyone had ever written a map, we had already conquered the entire globe. And the methods they used are honestly more brilliant than most people realize. Today, we're uncovering exactly how ancient humans traveled so far across the world. Our story begins around 70,000 years ago in Africa. Small groups of humans began walking out, slowly spreading across the entire continent, and then beyond it. Most of this early travel wasn't even by boat. It was simply walking generation after generation. During the Ice Age, sea levels dropped so low that land bridges connected continents that are now separated by ocean. One of these, called Beringia, connected Asia to North America, allowing humans to walk into an entirely new continent. This wasn't an easy walk either. It meant surviving freezing temperatures with almost nothing. So humans developed clothing, fire, and shelter techniques advanced enough to survive brutal environments. They hunted massive Ice Age animals for food, using teamwork and tools passed down through generations. Over thousands of years, these small groups kept moving south, eventually reaching the very tip of South America. An incredible journey of over 12,000 miles, without a single vehicle, just human feet, determination, and time. But eventually, humans hit a wall that walking simply couldn't solve. Open ocean. And that's when something remarkable happened. Humans began building boats. It would change the course of human history forever. The earliest boats were incredibly simple, just logs, reeds, or bamboo lashed together. No sails, no engines, just muscle, paddles, and raw courage. Around 65,000 years ago, humans achieved something that had never been done before. They crossed open ocean to reach Australia. This crossing meant days at sea with absolutely no land visible in any direction. Many researchers considered this the first true maritime voyage in human history, long before anyone thought it was possible. And somehow, against incredible odds, they made it. So how did they know which direction to even go? The answer starts with simply observing nature closely. Birds flying toward land at dusk often signaled that solid ground was somewhere nearby. Even the color reflected on the bottom of clouds could hint at a lagoon or reef hidden below the horizon. Even ocean swells had patterns, and skilled navigators could feel the difference between them just by the motion of the boat. Some navigators could literally lie down in the hull of a canoe and read the ocean through their entire body. This wasn't guesswork. It was an entire science, built purely on observation. But the most powerful tool of all was waiting above them, every single night. The night sky. To ancient navigators, it wasn't just beautiful, it was an entire map. Skilled navigators memorized the exact position where hundreds of stars rise and set on the horizon. This mental map is now known as a star compass, an internal system dividing the horizon into precise directional points. This knowledge took years to master, and was carefully passed down from master navigators to their apprentices. With no written language for navigation, everything had to be memorized through chants, songs, and stories. Entire voyages were encoded into songs, describing star paths, wave patterns, and distances in perfect detail. Nowhere was this mastered more impressively than in Polynesia, home to some of history's greatest navigators. Polynesian explorers settled islands scattered across an area larger than the entire continent of Africa, and they often did it deliberately, sailing directly toward islands they knew existed, but had never personally seen. Their double-hulled canoes were engineering marvels, stable enough to sail thousands of miles across open ocean. Some cultures even built physical maps out of sticks and shells, representing wave patterns instead of coastlines. These stick charts weren't for the voyage itself, they were used to memorize wave patterns before ever leaving shore. This wasn't primitive travel. This was an entire science, refined over thousands of years. Let's put this into perspective. The voyage from central Polynesia to Hawaii covered over 2,000 miles of open ocean. That's roughly the distance from New York to Los Angeles, crossed entirely by paddle and sail. These weren't quick trips either. Voyages carried enough food, water, plants, and animals to start entirely new settlements. Every drop of fresh water had to be carefully rationed, sometimes for weeks at a time. And the ocean was rarely forgiving. Sudden storms could appear without warning, threatening to capsize everything. A single miscalculation, a single bad storm, could mean the difference between life and death. Many voyages likely ended in tragedy. Entire crews lost at sea, with no trace left behind. But the ones who succeeded became the founders of entirely new civilizations, scattered across the Pacific. Every remote island you can think of, from Hawaii to Easter Island, was reached this exact way. Easter Island alone sits over 2,000 miles from the nearest inhabited landmass, and yet humans found it. Modern DNA studies have actually helped confirm many of these incredible migration routes, confirming that these journeys weren't just legend, they were real, documented in the very genes of island populations today. Polynesia wasn't the only culture mastering the open ocean. The Vikings crossed the cold, brutal North Atlantic, reaching Iceland, Greenland, and eventually North America. Some evidence suggests they may have used a special crystal that revealed the sun's position, even through thick clouds. In a region where the sun could disappear for days, this simple tool may have been absolutely essential for survival. Meanwhile, in the Indian Ocean, Arab sailors developed their own precise star measuring tool centuries before Europeans. These sailors created massive trade networks connecting Africa, the Middle East, India, and China. Even in the Arctic, Inuit navigators mastered incredibly harsh conditions using wind patterns and snow formations as guides. Certain snow formations, shaped consistently by prevailing winds, worked almost like a compass across featureless ice. Every culture that faced the ocean developed its own brilliant solutions, shaped by their unique environment. Different tools, different techniques, but the same relentless human drive to explore beyond the horizon. By the time written history even began, humans had already reached almost every corner of the planet. So what happened to all this incredible knowledge? And why did we eventually stop relying on it? Eventually, new tools began to arrive: the compass, the sextant, and detailed written charts. These tools were incredibly useful, but they slowly began to replace centuries of memorized traditional knowledge. Fewer young people took the time to learn the old chants, the star paths, and the wave-reading techniques. By the 20th century, this incredible knowledge had nearly vanished entirely, surviving only in a handful of remote communities. But in the 1970s, a small group of dedicated researchers and sailors decided to bring this knowledge back to life. They built a traditional double-hulled canoe, using only ancient designs, with no modern instruments allowed on board. Remarkably, they successfully sailed thousands of miles using nothing but the stars, waves, and traditional knowledge. It proved once and for all that these ancient methods weren't myths, they were genuinely reliable science. Today, this ancient wisdom is being actively taught again, ensuring it never disappears completely. Modern scientists now use satellite data, ocean current models, and DNA analysis to study these journeys in incredible detail. And time again, the ancient methods turn out to be remarkably accurate, even by today's scientific standards. Which raises an interesting thought: what does this ancient story really teach us about human exploration? So let's bring it all together. Ancient humans crossed the entire planet using nothing but their feet, simple boats, and an incredible understanding of nature. Stars, waves, wind, birds, even the color of clouds, every piece of nature became a tool for survival. This knowledge was memorized, sung, and passed down with a precision that rivals modern science. By the time recorded history began, humans had already explored and settled nearly every corner of the Earth. It shows us that curiosity and courage have always been part of what makes us human. The same drive that sent ancient humans across open oceans is the same drive sending us toward Mars today. So here's a question for you. If you had to cross an unknown ocean with no modern tools, do you think you could find your way? Let us know in the comments. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next incredible story from human history.